Welcome to KSPR Survive the Storm with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty, Meteorologist Matt Jones, and Meteorologist Jennifer Perez. Now, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Lighty.
Welcome to Survive the Storm. Our severe weather season is already off to a rough start. We've already had 10 tornadoes in the Ozarks, including the most recent EF2 tornado in Goodman, Missouri, that destroyed many buildings, including this elementary school that you're looking at, and an EF2 tornado in Parthenon, Arkansas that occurred last month. KSPR's Rachel DeBrovin takes us to the damage and shows us what one woman did to survive the storm.
See, this is a great big old tree.
Shailene Crow moved to Parthenon 2 years ago.
Moved here from Oklahoma.
Where in Oklahoma?
Right outside of Moore, where all the tornadoes are.
Crow says she thought this town would be safe from tornadoes.
Unfortunately, nature has her own plans and designs.
When the storm hit, Crow had to act fast.
I heard a big noise, and I said, "Baby, what is that?" And he said, "A tree fell in the house." And so I got up and I heard another big noise, and I said, "I'm going under the bed. That might be a tornado."
She was right.
We were pretty confident in assigning this an EF2 rating with maximum winds of 120 miles an hour.
Strong winds peeled chunks of metal off of barns and houses and threw it into the air like it was nothing. In fact, there's even a huge chunk of metal wrapped around a tree branch above my head.
The wind just ripped it, and you can see if you look at it that the tin is just rolled up like a sardine can or something. And then the church, you can see the poor church.
The tornado destroyed much of the church.
Of course, you can see the roof is completely gone, and it looks like a tossed salad inside.
And the tornado obliterated the trailer that was being used as the town's post office.
Mail was everywhere, and their supplies and everything, so they've been out picking up everything.
This is where that post office used to be, but the tornado picked it up and rolled it into the parking lot all the way across the street over to where that big pile of trash is. That's about 200 feet.
The main damage is to the back of the house, and water damage inside.
After the tornado, Crow had to find a new place to live, but she was grateful that everyone in this town survived the storm.
I think that gratitude is the response to have to get through this, because it happens to all of us.
Reporting in Parthenon, Rachel DeBrovin, KSPR News.
On that same day, we had an EF1 tornado in Max Creek that destroyed a mobile home where one woman was living and survived the storm by writing it out in her bathtub.
Before working at KSPR, I led storm chasing tour groups across the country. And 6 years ago, I was caught right in the middle of one of the largest tornadoes to ever hit the state of Missouri.
Yes.
You gotta go, gang. You gotta go. We're about to get waxed right here.
Jesus.
You know, I can tell you and you can kind of imagine, but unless you were there when that thing hit, you're just never going to understand. It was the most terrifying moment of my entire life.
Possible tornado coming this way. And there's threads everywhere.
Hour and a half, then we're going to keep going south. We're just going to get out of the way of this thing.
You can look off to the right and just see how black the sky is. I mean, it was 2 in the afternoon, and the street lights came on. It was just dark as night.
Oh my goodness. Oh, the power flash is going on. Oh my God. Oh, that was right there. It's right there. Holy shit. Oh my God.
Watching back on this video from our van, it's tough to watch. It's tough to go through that again, because it's almost like I'm reliving that over and over again.
Yeah. Jesus.
Oh my God. I thought I was going to die. I literally had never been so terrified in my entire life.
You can see the rain rapidly.
Freaking go, people.
Go, just go. Oh, no, all right. It's behind him. Oh, good. Good God.
I remember looking in the rearview mirror, and I could just see transformers just going, just exploding, and it was getting closer, 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 and we were stuck at a red light because it was near rush hour in Joplin, and so we were stuck at all these traffic lights, and you could just see this thing just getting closer and closer, and that's at the point when I said, we're either going to run all these red lights or we're toast. Right in the nick of time, and we're stuck at this red light, and you could see this thing coming, the power went out, and so we were able to coast through all the red lights through Joplin and just keep going. We didn't have to stop anymore, and that saved us.
The traffic lights are off, so they lost power in the city now.
Oh my God.
All the street lights are
right there.
The scary part is when you watch this video, and you see everything that we're passing by. Every single structure that we passed just 2 minutes before was just flattened. And if we had been 2 minutes behind in traffic.
If you got sunnies, I recommend you might put them on a tail, so that's fine. Yeah.
Unbelievable, the force.
We are professional storm chasers. We did this, and we really knew what we were doing. We really knew. But not only did we get caught off guard, but numerous storm chasers got caught off guard that day. The radar scans, the one scan went through, it looked fine. The next scan, boom, it had formed that fast. And by that time, it was too late.
Got it, Roger.
Having experienced that and gone through that myself, it really gives you a first-hand perspective, and it just changes, it really has changed everything. Not only how I forecast, but how I live my everyday life, everything from that event.
It was just a couple of weeks ago that 3 storm chasers died, not from the actual tornado, but from a car accident that they were involved in while trying to chase a tornado down in Texas. It was just a couple of weeks ago as well that we actually interviewed Kelly Williamson right here in our KSPR parking lot about storm chasing. At first, the story was going to be about how to storm chase safely. But in a weird twist of fate, that story changed on that Tuesday afternoon.
People ask what we do and that, until we track weather, tornadoes for the Weather Channel, and about 50-50. Some of the people says you're crazy and the other half says I want to go with you.
But when Kelly wasn't chasing storms,
I raised chickens down in Cassville.
This was Kelly Williamson.
Most farmers, just about all the farmers, has got a little weatherman in them. All my life I've watched the weather, to see if it was going to rain, if I could bale hay, what was going to go on. So I just continued watching the weather and just got a lot more into it.
Kelly took it to the next step and started storm chasing.
Well, I actually got started storm chasing. I kind of got in a local sky warrant at Monette, Missouri, up there, Barry, Lawrence County.
But Kelly soon found out he would have to leave home if he wanted to see more storms.
There just wasn't quite enough storms around. I got to going, and I just keep waiting for storms, and, there just wasn't enough of them, so I just kind of started going just a little farther and a little farther.
He drove all across the country, streaming live video to the Weather Channel.
Every tornado I see is amazing.
Just last year, Kelly captured 37 tornadoes, a feat that any storm chaser would tell you is impressive.
Every storm's got something about its own personality, it's just like a person.
His scariest moments on the chase were in Texas, where his life would tragically end.
Yeah, we've had a couple scary moments in Texas.
His experience taught him that the riskiest aspect of what he did was the danger that would ultimately take his life.
The biggest danger out there is the other chasers and the grandma that's trying to get her kids. The tornado sirens are going off and she's trying to get them to safety. You've got to watch out for everybody out there, and then the storms kind of come secondary. As long as you go out there and be safe, that's the main thing.
It's important to remember a few things if you do decide to take up the hobby of storm chasing. First off, if you're a beginner, don't go out and do it by yourself. Always go with an experienced chaser when you're first getting started. And of course, when you're on the road, pay attention to your surroundings, obey the traffic laws, and of course, wear your seatbelt.